Hi, this is Ryan Thomas Johnson of Carnosaur 2, and you are listening to The Final Gaze.
Welcome back to The Final Gaze. I am Toby.
And my name is Harrison.
And today we are reviewing Sweet Home, directed by Kiyoshi Kurosawa. Sorry for butchering all these names. It was produced by Juzo Itami and distributed in Japan by Toho.
Good old Toho.
I love Toho, and they were popping up a lot in this retrospective that we're doing. All right, so let's go into the plot very quickly. A documentarian, Kazuo Hoshino, and his small crew enter the abandoned mansion of artist Ichiro Mamiya. Their intent? To film and restore precious frescoes that the artist left behind after his mysterious disappearance. Almost immediately after they arrive, they begin to experience paranormal activity. Soon, the isolated crew realize they are dealing with a poltergeist that is hell-bent on killing any trespassers within the mansion and surrounding grounds.
Yeah. Fantastic. What a lovely, lovely plot. Just remember how I said a couple episodes ago that I wrote some short stories, specifically short stories that were inspired by plots exactly like this. A group of people enter, insert scary location here, and scary things happen.
Hilarity ensues.
Hilarity ensues. This is the exact personification of those plot lines in this movie, but it's done very well.
And not in a, cheesy takes you out of the movie way. I thoroughly entertained throughout this whole thing. But before we get into that, let's talk about the first time we saw Sweet Home.
Yes, shall we?
Go right ahead, Harrison.
Oh, well, okay, me. All right.
I'm leading this, so I'm telling you what to do.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, pretty much, I'm pretty sure we experienced this movie the same way. Fortunately, much like our other movies that we've reviewed recently, Sweet Home is available on YouTube for free.
Yeah, but
so
nowhere
if you
else.
want, yeah, we're out. So I didn't really plan to watch this on a specific day. I think for me, I was just kind of sitting down. I'm like, you know what? There's really not much going on. I may as well watch Sweet Home. So I pretty much sat down. Unknowingly, I didn't know I needed to be buckled in because this movie was a wild ride from beginning to end. Not like House, but it was definitely an unexpectedly good movie. So I
this
watched
wasn't
this.
the first time you've seen it?
Oh no, this is the first time that I did see it. I have never seen this before in my life, and it was only until you brought it up on the last episode when we were looking for a replacement for a Grotesque that I heard of this movie. And like before, the only thing I knew about it was that it inspired the Resident Evil video game, which I can totally see now. So pretty much, and it's funny because remember, I'm pretty sure we both said we're not going to watch any trailers for this. But it's really hilarious because the YouTube video has a trailer for the movie before the movie starts.
I noticed that and I skipped ahead.
Yeah, I was like, what is this? And I'm like, oh, fuck, okay. Oh, well, by then it was too late, but I did learn a few things about it just by that trailer, and after doing research, there's a lot of interesting things behind the scenes, which we'll get into, of course.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, no, just on one random Wednesday evening, for no reason at all, and ended up watching this, so...
Well, I started watching this last night at midnight in bed. It was really good, but then I got super tired, so I rewatched it, the whole thing, today, just a couple hours ago.
Oh, good.
Which is yeah. Did you think I was gonna stop at I only saw 40 minutes of the movie, but I think it was pretty good.
I thought you pulled a me with Suspiria.
Oh yeah. No, I this morning I was like, no, I probably need to rewatch the whole thing, and I'm glad I did. It made more sense this time around. I feel like that's becoming a pattern with me. It's I watch the movie we're reviewing just a couple hours before we actually review.
That has always been a theme with you.
Yeah, but now people
whether
can
it's
see it.
Yeah, which
But
is
how prepared I am. Look at my notes.
Oh, look at that.
I also have a new printer, so I'm super excited.
Oh, so you're just showing off at this point. Yeah, you know, especially in a long forgotten era when we used to record in person before this pandemic hit. You know, a lot of these that question would always be answered by you by saying, "Oh, I just finished it about a half hour before we started recording." I'm like, "You rascal."
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah.
Well, so should we go into our favorite portion of the episode?
Yes, cue the music. And now it's time for our favorite part of the podcast, Nerdy Film Score Talk. All right, Nerdy Film Score Talk. I have a lot to unload here.
I'm sure you do.
Even
Even I noticed similar things this time, so...
Yeah, you know, actually, you caught on to something, and we'll definitely get into that. So hopefully, maybe you'll be able to put some stuff into this too, because I became a little bit more obsessed with the themes as opposed to finding similarities. But I mean, I don't know. I'm not very familiar with the said score that you found similarity with, as much as I love the movie, and we'll get into it. We'll get into it. But let's start off with the composer, composed by Masaya Matsuura. He's primarily known for writing music for video games, such as Parappa the Rapper. Do you remember that? No. I seem to vaguely remember the design of that character from the late 90s. I mean, if you saw it, you'd probably be like, I remember that.
Doesn't ring a bell.
Yeah, no, it didn't for me, but the design is what did it for me. And he also did music for Jammy Lammy, which is a spin-off of Parappa the Rapper. I don't think I was very familiar with that one. I think I recognized Parappa the Rapper more.
These names are ridiculous.
He produced both of those video games along with two other games. One is called Vib Ribbon, which is about a white angular rabbit named Vibri, who skips on a white line with obstacles generated from the rhythm of music. It's like a little bit more of an intricate, impossible game. I don't know if you ever tried that before, but it's like that square you have to like leap over obstacles and it just gets faster and way more intense.
Probably, yeah, I probably have.
Yeah, there's like a lot of YouTube gamers on YouTube who upload videos of them like rage quitting that game. It's hilarious, but it kind of has that it has that look. It's from 1996, and it's like stick figures, but they're very kind of intricately drawn. If it were released today, I think it'd be a really big hit on like some indie video game market. So I thought that looked pretty cool. The other one sounds pretty interesting, and it actually seems to have a lot of similarities to this movie and video game. It's called Haunt. It actually kind of looks like a semi-remake of Sweet Home. It's a first-person point-and-click adventure game set in a haunted house.
I'm seeing another theme.
Yep.
Similar.
Yeah. Watching the trailer, you can already see similarities of gameplay in the original Sweet Home video game and the film. Like some of the monsters look the same. A lot of the battle mechanics look similar to how the original video game looked like. So I'm kind of wondering if this was like a spiritual successor or even a spiritual remake of Sweet Home.
Have you played the game, the original Sweet Home game?
No, but I did take the time to watch some playthroughs.
I didn't. I should have. What did you think, though?
Yeah.
What you saw?
I mean, honestly, the first thought that came to mind was, okay, Pokemon, for Game Boy. It kind of had that overhead look, the same, like, sprite designs and all that. And also, it seemed to, as far as the battle mechanics goes, it was also kind of turn-based, kind of like Final Fantasy. So I'm like, okay, that's pretty neat.
That's pretty cool.
And, yeah. And I'm pretty sure that you're well aware of the controversy of, the theory of chicken and the egg, what came first.
Yes, I definitely do.
We'll get into that on the behind the scenes, I imagine, but
yeah. I was just gonna say, it's weird that the soundtrack for the game is very easy to find, but the soundtrack for this movie, impossible. When you told me you couldn't find it, I was like, he probably didn't even look right. And I went on like a 30-minute deep dive into the internet. Nothing.
Yeah, dude, I left flags for you, man. I dug deep for this. I was like, Sweet Home soundtrack. Okay, video game music. Sweet Home soundtrack, composer's name.
Yes.
Okay, there's a CD. Okay, whatever. And there is a YouTube channel that has the tracks, but the
it's
videos are
blocked in our
unavailable.
Is it not available or not available in our country?
It said it was unavailable. That could mean that it maybe is unavailable in our country, though, because it is still public. So I'm pretty sure if I were a bit more
Maybe I'll look into
technically, yeah, maybe I was a little bit more technical and savvy with that kind of stuff, I could maybe switch my VPN to be open and be like, okay, we'll have internet access in Germany where it is available or whatever. But
Yeah. The most
but
I
it
found
is out there.
was the track list, and then you had
the
the
track
one track
list
that you.
Yeah, and I'll definitely jump into that. But so alongside producing video games as well as writing music for video games, he also founded the band, and I am probably definitely going to be saying this wrong, but the words are PSY-S. I'm not quite sure if that is like Psysis, like Psy and then S, or Psys, but it actually does sound kind of cool, Psys. But I'm probably slaughtering the hell out of that name. There's probably a Japanese way to say it, and I'm fucking it up. But he founded that band, and it was a Japanese progressive rock band that blended genres of new wave, synth pop, and electronic together. And they released about 16 albums from 1983 to 1986, and actually, a little bit of trivia within the trivia, they were the first Japanese band to release a CD-ROM to the public in Japan.
Really?
So yeah, that's interesting.
Cool.
Yeah, it was like 1993. So I guess before then it was vinyl, 8-track, and tapes, and suddenly here comes Psys with the CD-ROM. Boom, the future.
Mind's blown.
So yeah, so I thought that it had a pretty interesting history. It's pretty interesting though, only because of all the information there's to find about this guy, all of his credits, all of his whatevers. His credit for Sweet Home seems to be absent, meaning that it wasn't on his IMDb. It wasn't even on his IMDb page, but it was this guy. It was this person who composed music for Sweet Home, as well as doing all this other video game stuff and the band. Alright, so the soundtrack for this movie is hard to find in North America, but it's only because it had an official release in Japan and not North America. Obviously, because this movie didn't really come to North America. It hasn't even had an official DVD release here. As far as I'm concerned, it is still only available on VHS in Japan, which, if you see at the very beginning, someone totally just recorded, captured straight from the videotape for us on YouTube. So thank you for that.
And I'm kind of surprised that it's not more well known or on some kind of collectible, I don't know, release because of its reputation with Resident Evil.
Yeah, that's such a strange thing. I feel that this would be a movie that companies like Scream Factory, Vinegar Syndrome, or fucking Arrow would pick up immediately and just, we need to release this as give us a 2K remaster scan from the original negative because this shit needs to be upgraded, which I feel that I don't understand why it wasn't the first time, like when Resident Evil was a big thing, but I feel that there might be a new wave coming especially with the upcoming Netflix series and the new film version of Resident Evil.
Yeah.
I feel now there's just that tiny niche that may be big enough for companies to come in and do like a full-on HD remaster. I'm hoping they do it like they did for House, because there are actually a lot of similarities with it. Not that it's like, kooky like House, but like it has a lot of strange similarities. Like, okay, group of people go into a house that's haunted. Okay, there's a female villain. Okay, all right. Even with the composers, a single individual and his band do the music for it. I'm like, all right, there's just a lot going for it. So, but the music for the most part is great. But like the previous movie reviewed, House, there are some parts where the music doesn't fit. Specifically in the scenes where our characters drive to the mansion. Mm-hmm. Here's a clip of that. I don't know about you, but I thought for a split second that Koji Kondo scored this, and I felt like we were in like Kokiri Forest or something, man.
And this is the one that I was like felt was similar to the other song, correct?
Yes.
From
and thanks to your keen ears, this track sounds very familiar to the track from the film Crimson Peak by Fernando Velasquez, which we'll play for you here.
And I love this soundtrack, which is the only reason why I have listened to it so much that I immediately was like, that sounds awfully familiar.
Yeah, thank goodness for that, man, because that's something I would have never known. And not that I don't hate... Honestly, I haven't really sat down and gave the Crimson Peak score a proper listen, so maybe I should.
It's definitely good. But that track called Buffalo, I have listened to often and fits way better in Crimson Peak.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting because both films have similar themes of a haunted house, and I feel it would only be in Guillermo del Toro's spirit that he used music from such an underground movie like Sweet Home for like a temp track.
I completely agree. Yeah, it definitely feels like something he'd be interested in doing.
Yeah, and I'll give him and the composer a pass just because I feel he did this so that nerdy film score fans like us can catch on to it, So I was okay with that, but it works great in Crimson Peak. Not so much with Sweet Home. And it is distracting, but it's not like, 1-star rating.
And it starts, though, in a moment that I felt like if they had started it a little bit later, it would fit a bit, but they start it when the people that they're trying to get to let them go to the mansion in the first place, when they hand over the key, and they're just like they're talking about like, well, what if something happens to them because of whatever, and then they hand them the key, and to me it should have been a very ominous sound as he's handing over the key, but the second he hands over the key, it's like da, 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 like just super happy.
Yeah, dude. But strangely enough, I'm also giving it a pass because it is also in essence very Japanese too. First, perhaps if this were an American-made film, I also got, what it also reminded me of, especially when they're driving on that leafy road, I got like Evil Dead vibes from it, like the low angle on the ground.
Yeah, agreed.
And then there's our ominous music, but I feel in Japan sort of way, this is like, again, this is like a very small version of that culture shock where this ominous feeling should be encompassing us, but no, we're gonna play like Legend of Zelda music.
We're supposed to be excited with the crew to go, so that's like what they're feeling on the way, but I guess for America we're expecting like a very menacing, foreboding sound.
I'm still giving it a pass, but it just doesn't fit. It just doesn't fit. It's
not a detriment, at least.
Nah, definitely not. Because it would be a detriment if it weren't for the rest of the movie, and especially the movie's music. So, speaking of, the rest of the music seemed incidental and rightfully fitting of all the terrors happening on screen. However, there is one scene where the score is simply breathtaking. And it isn't even because it's scary or action-packed. No, it happens during an unexpectedly tender moment near the end of the film. A a children's choir, specifically the St. Philip's Boys Choir, is utilized to create this haunting, almost melancholic theme, and it encapsulates a sense of loss and aimlessness. But here's that clip now. This became my favorite track from the whole movie. And I definitely got misty-eyed when this track played. I don't know, it's a pretty touching scene.
It is, I agree.
Yeah, it's very, it came out of nowhere, because for the most part, this score sounds like it was synthesized. You know, the strings are way too rigid to sound like someone like recorded them. Like,
I mean, it was the 80s, the end of the 80s. It definitely has that kind of instrumental sound.
Yeah. So it was really unexpected to hear this very organic human voice come through. And I think they did it on purpose, because as the moment that's happening is between our villainous figure and she becomes our heroine in the end, even though most of the heroic stuff happens with that figure elsewhere.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, you know, this human element was brought in to humanize our villain, which it did for me. So
yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, she murdered a lot of people and also burned a lot of babies, so I don't know if I really forgive her, but I guess it was a better ending than it humanized her.
Yeah. Then I guess I didn't say the track redeemed her. It humanized her.
Okay.
It kind of, you know, I'm not saying it justified any of her horrific actions, but
that's
it kind
what it was
of
sounding like to me, Harrison. So.
Oh, right. Well, I don't know. Maybe those babies deserved it.
You heard it here. Harrison promotes baby deaths.
Hey, man, you did too in Noroi.
I did. That I did.
We just the Final Gaze hates babies.
1-star reviews from babies.
Fuck those babies. And I don't know if you heard them or not, but there are actual lyrics to this song.
Yeah, that's just Home Sweet Home, isn't it?
No,
part of it.
Yeah, to my surprise, and I only heard those lyrics today when I kind of did a quick review of the whole movie, just kind of fast forwarding and whatnot. And it wasn't until I heard "Home Sweet Home" in the lyrics, and I was like, "Oh, they're actually saying stuff."
In
so
English.
fortunate in English, which is crazy, right?
Yeah.
And in the deep dive that we both did, I don't know about you, but I found like this French forum of someone who had bought the soundtrack and kind of transcribed all of the inserts from Japanese into English, and that's where I got these lyrics from.
I did not.
So, yeah, so I want to go ahead and read this because I think it's really, really beautiful. Cue the music. Lost and alone, far did I roam from my home, sweet home. Out of the cold, straight is the road to my home, sweet home. Happiness calls, rain never falls on my home, sweet home. Paradise awaits inside the gates of my home, sweet home. Oh, home, sweet home, a place I will always remember. Oh, home, sweet home, it will live on in my heart forever. Beautiful. Simply beautiful. And, you know, there are themes of the film hidden in the lyrics, such as Paradise Awaits, and, of course, the obvious Home Sweet Home. So, interesting.
Although, whose home really was it sweet for?
I guess maybe the ghost. At one point, it was a home, sweet home, but then it was just beguiled by tragedy, and now it's not.
Yeah, that's true.
It's definitely not for the film crew.
No, poor film crew. Oh, at least only 2 of them died.
Only 2. And I was okay with their deaths, actually, because they weren't exactly my favorite characters.
No, they were definitely set up to die.
Yeah.
Except for one. Didn't really deserve
except for
it,
one. I think I know which one you're talking about. Yeah, we'll get into him. But yeah, no, this is a CD I would certainly love to own. But it'll have to be imported. You know, it's going on eBay for $13.
I saw that, yeah. It's only $13.
Plus $3 for shipping. So $16, not bad.
I didn't even click on it because I was like, there's no way it's gonna be less than like 100 something.
Oh God, no! See, that's the thing, is that it's not like it's rare. It's just hard to find, and you can buy it on eBay for about $16. So there you go.
If you're a completist, there you go.
If you're a completist, yeah. But gosh, I wish I could show you guys more, but as you can tell, the soundtrack has been hard to find. Fortunately, though, the track that we were able to show you, which is called Home Sweet Home with the Boys Choir, I was able to find that on the composer's SoundCloud, and that's the only track that we have.
That's hilarious. That's where you found it, and that he has a SoundCloud.
And it's weird because he doesn't exactly go by his actual name. It's like something else, and it was just by chance that because I think it was a Google search that led to a Facebook page that's like a fan page for him, but he comments on it and he's like, oh yeah, by the way, here's my SoundCloud with Home Sweet Home. I'm like,
I guess it's cool to have that kind of access.
Yeah, so I wish I had access to the whole soundtrack, but you know why we don't have it.
Yeah, well, maybe next time.
Maybe next time. But yeah, do you have anything to add to the nerdy film score talk?
I don't. You pretty much covered it. My one contribution was the Crimson Peak, and I'm very proud of myself for finding.
Yes, I am proud for you because I would have never caught that reference because it was easy to remember the sound of that music in Sweet Home.
Yeah. So
much that when you sent it to me on YouTube, on Facebook, I clicked it first 5 seconds. I was like, oh
it
my
sticks
God.
with you.
Yep. So it's just and again, not that he'll ever listen, but never say never. But Guillermo del Toro, did you use Sweet Home as a temp score for Crimson Peak? Because I would believe it.
I bet yes. I'm gonna say yes.
Yeah. More realistically speaking, Fernando Velasquez, if you're listening to this, did you watch Crimson Peak with a Sweet Home temp score?
Did you rip off Sweet Home is what we're asking.
Let us know. If you're on Twitter, we'll add you. We're genuinely curious.
And if you can do an intro for us too.
Ah, yes. Oh, we would love that very, very much. I will definitely listen to the Crimson Peak score if he does that. But you know, it's funny. I think I'm familiar with his other works, specifically A Monster Call.
I haven't seen it.
That, and I think he did. Didn't he do that tsunami movie with the young Tom Holland?
Impossible.
Yeah,
That's a good one.
I think it is, because that was a Spanish director too. So.
Who directed Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom? What's his name?
Oh my God, he did.
J.A. Bayona.
Wow. Oh, good catch there.
Because
I would
I'm
have
a
been
nerd.
like, huh? There you go.
That's why.
It's good to be a nerd sometimes, man.
I agree.
But all right, but I think that wraps up nerdy film score talk. Shall we jump right into general discussion?
It. And I kind of want to get the actual ending out of the way, or like the explanation of what's going on.
Yes.
Kind of get that straight. So apparently, there's the artist Ichiro and his wife, Lady Mamiya. Is that how you pronounce that, do you think? Mamiya?
Yeah, Mamiya.
Sounds like
that's pretty much
mother.
Ooh, see? I like that.
Oh, I'm on a roll. All right. So they both had a son who unfortunately was playing in the furnace, the incinerator. It just barely started to walk, and then the mom, Lady Mamiya, turned it on and burned her baby to death. She went insane. Actually, trying to save the baby, she was mutilated, went insane.
She lost an eye.
She started murdering little babies to give her son playmates in the afterlife. right? Is that what's to be believed?
Oh no, that's exactly what happens.
Okay, perfect. And she basically kills it. She's just a vengeful ghost, like every other haunted. This movie definitely has vibes of like The Haunting, especially with the whole baby stuff going on. So that's basically the explanation, and so it's a movie about motherhood and family.
Yeah, you see, now, unfortunately, my only exposure to The Haunting was the 1999 movie.
And I'm kind of referring to that one because it has a lot of the baby coming out of the walls and the person was killing children.
Because I feel you'd be someone who would have read the original novel. Did you?
I did. The
Haunting of Hill House?
Thanks for...
No, okay. Putting you on blast.
Throw me under the bus, Harrison.
Hey, well, here, I'll redeem both of us right here, because at least we've seen the Haunting of Hill House Netflix show.
And I've seen all the movies, so...
Yeah. So I don't know how... and I haven't seen the original Haunting, so I can't really say if The Haunting inspired this.
It's pretty
because obviously
good.
It's an old book.
Yeah.
So... But yeah, no, definitely. There's a whole lot... There's, strangely enough, in a lot of ways, this legend felt very American too.
It did, and it's so on our Instagram. I've been trying to just post some little trivia stuff about J horror and its history. And while I was reading, there was one that was saying a lot of different themes that's used in J horror, especially from the 80s and 90s. And it's the breakup. One of the big ones is the breakup of nuclear family. So the mom, the daughter, the wife, or a new mom. So in House, it was basically the mom was dead, the dad trying to make a new family with the new wife. In this one, it's all about Emmy, who wants her dad to get with what's her name, Akiko. She has lost her mom. That's all. She's trying to get a family put together. There's this whole mother thing with the babies. So I don't know. I feel like it's pretty cool seeing how all these movies have this similar thread of family, which is a very American thing.
Yeah, and I actually want to correct myself real quick. I say American, but the one theme that comes to mind isn't American at all. It's Mexican. With The Curse of La Llorona.
La Llorona. Oh, don't even mention her name, Harrison.
Just terrible movie, or just...
No, she's scary. My mom and my cousins used to scare me with that.
Oh!
If you don't... We used to live by a canal, and they would say, if you don't go to bed on time, La Llorona is going to come down the canal.
If you don't behave, oh my God.
And so...
You want to trade childhood monsters? You want to take the hoof, man?
Honestly?
Honestly.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm kind of into
Do you want to get
now.
drowned or torn to pieces? That's the question.
I guess I want to get drowned. You're right.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I was kind of thinking like that, not I guess, South American, the Americas.
Yeah. And I guess I take the whole nuclear family from that suburban mom, dad, a daughter, or 2 kids. You know what I'm talking about? Like that.
Yeah. But yeah, no, but essentially that is the ending. Of course, the cure to all that's wrong is apparently all you had to do was reunite the mother with the dead baby.
With the dead corpse. Baby. Which...
And then... And it concerns me because in the ending, this mother, Mamiya, goes to heaven
with her baby
after murdering all these people in such horrific ways. So,
and I'm assuming it was she had that Freddy Krueger thing going on where the faces were coming out of her body as if they were the souls of the children she killed. I kind of took it that way.
Oh God, should we talk about that?
Yeah, yeah. Let's go ahead.
Fucking amazing! I did not expect that. I did not expect that. Her final
scale of it, the whole scale of it, and the puppeteering. It's definitely dated, but you're right. I did not expect such a production value of an ending.
I mean, honestly. To me, it didn't seem dated at all, and there's a lot of reasons why I can attest to that. One, obviously all the makeup was done by Dick Smith, and if you don't know who that is, listeners, look him up. You'll know exactly who he is. And just because it was done by that very legendary makeup artist, and just the way it moves, and one thing, the fucking thing made me cry. The thing emoted.
That was actually very well done, and they definitely had like some sort of the puppeteering, but I feel like they used the lighting to make it look like it was sad or about to cry or something like that.
Yeah, it did cry. It one little tear, and it was all like, oh, okay, oh god, this poor woman.
All is forgiven.
Yeah, I guess. And ironically, the ending did feel like that really stupid Scary Movie 3 finale. Like, thanks, you broke the curse. Now I'll never kill again.
Yes, exactly.
But that's exactly how it ended, though.
And I'm happy that it was a happy ending this time. As much as it could be.
Did you stay through the credits?
Didn't.
There is a post-credit scene.
What is it?
The mansion just collapses in on itself.
Oh.
That's it, really. But I thought it was kind of like, haha.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
I guess I can look that up. It's funny you mentioned Scary Movie. When, what's his name? Yamamura? When he's having his awful death and turns into a skeleton and they're all, like, watching him, it so reminded me of Scary Movie 2. With Brenda and the skeleton coming down the hallway.
Yeah.
Wayne's Brothers.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. We're not going to go into too deep of a conversation about Scary Movie 2, but there's similarities there.
Yes.
Which I guess, should we talk about that death scene?
Yeah, let's get into it. We can just go through the deaths now if you want.
Yeah, oh my god. Oh my god.
Horrific.
The meltdown scene puts the Nazi face melt scene from Raiders to shame.
I knew you were gonna mention that because that's exactly when his eyes were melting. Is exactly what I thought of.
I mean, I love Raiders. I love that scene. I've sent you stupid like collages of that saying, "Do you think you know?" And I'm like, "Oh my god, sorry, Steven. Sorry, Harrison Ford, but Sweet Home has probably the best meltdown scene on film." And trust me, I've seen my fair share of meltdowns. The Fly 2, Evil Dead, the obvious one. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, oh god, no. This, at least for me, it didn't look like it transitioned from human to puppet. It was so seamless.
Very seamless.
It's like you didn't question when it changed, and part of that has to do with, of course, the makeup design. Of course, you have legendary Dick Smith. Again, look him up if you don't know who he is, listeners. The puppetry, which of course attributed to both the effectiveness of this meltdown and the emotional reaction of Kamiya's final form. Mm-hmm. Wait, Kamiya? Yeah, no. What was it? Mamiya. Mamiya. I said Kamiya. I don't know why. Mamiya's final form.
I know why.
Yeah. And, gosh, just beautiful. It's brutal. It's gory.
So
but it's
undeserved.
Yeah. I mean, I wish it was this meltdown seen by a wider audience. I think there's like a specific clip on YouTube that is just that scene, and it only has like a couple thousand views. I'm like, more people need to see this.
About that, so I think also the person's performance, the actor's performance, is pretty good as far as like the pain that he's in. But he is Juzo Itami, who is the producer, which we'll have a lot to say about him.
Fucking weird stories, man. Oh my god, I cannot wait to talk about him.
But worked out. Like, I mean, he was pretty good, right?
Oh god, yes. I don't. Wait, no. Yeah, that'll be behind the scenes stuff, and
we'll get there.
Chapter mark it here, producer talk, because oh my god, that is yeah, I'm excited. I hope that you have the shit on him I have, because that is some weird conspiracy theory shit.
Ooh, really? I don't know if I got conspiracy theories.
Oh, really?
I got
Yakuza?
No. Oh, I guess
God.
because I looked up the behind the scenes of the movie, not like not the director. I should have done more research. This was my idea, and I'm totally failing.
Okay, no. No, that's good for me because I get to tell you and I get to tell the audience. Okay. So, yeah. But, one of the things I really like about this is that they built up the reputation of the house so well. Mm-hmm. Like, before you even saw it, you're like, damn, what the fuck is this place?
I mean, Spencer Mansion, right?
Spencer Mansion.
That's what it looks like, even with, like, the paintings and the weird rooms, hallways. Yeah.
And that's actually a pretty good point to come up with right now. I was watching this YouTube guy review the movie, and one of the things that he said that kind of stuck with me for this review is that the look of the mansion. First of all, I love the design of it. Mm-hmm. It's very kind of like a very Addams Family.
Yes, it's very.
I don't
Gothic.
think it's a. Yeah, I don't think that's the kind of house would be in Japan, but I'm not really worried about that.
It seems like a very American haunted house design.
Yeah, but one of the things he said is that in regards to the look and feel of the house, it felt like the Spencer Mansion before you encountered a zombie. You're playing a zombie game. There's zombies in this mansion, but you just haven't seen them yet. So there's just like that uneasiness, and that feeling is translated perfectly into the design of this house.
Agreed.
And I love it. I absolutely love it.
There's the shot where you first see the house where Akiko's looking out the window as they're driving through the woods, and you see it's obviously a miniature, but you see it through the forest, and it just gives you you know me, I love miniatures. I don't know, it's just the ominous. You're only seeing it a little bit through the trees until you actually get to it, and everything's pretty serene and quiet on the outside. But then once what's his face, Taguchi breaks the window, and you get that like spotlight that shines through in the mist of the dust onto the wheelchair. Just like so sweet, so perfect, so ominous. It's exactly what I wanted when they handed over that key.
Yes, and I don't know, like for me, I think the only movie that came close to like being a house that would be something that I'd want to wander through is The Haunting. But I think that's a bit too extravagant.
I mean, I think the house.
It's very.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, it's very. Oh no, it's like very, very cavernous. But this one seemed a bit more stepped in reality. Like this is a house you could find in the middle of the woods.
Yes, agreed. It kind of reminded me, or at least a house I would love to explore, is Allerdale Hall from Crimson Peak. I feel like it has that kind of inside, at least like the architecture of the hallways and things, the intricate designs of the wood.
Yeah, and speaking of the designs of the wood, and I'm not quite sure if this is just because we just watched House last week, but there's just that one room where Takaguchi, is it?
Mm-hmm. Ryo Takaguchi.
The cameraman, basically, and we'll talk about his death too, where he gets died.
He gets got.
But yeah, but there's that curvy wooden like design, and I'm all like,
I feel like it gets in the way.
Why am I feeling like house vibes? I don't know why. It really doesn't. It really shouldn't. But I think for me, it was like the that poster design where it's like the house coming out of the grounds on the roots, and I'm all like, okay, that kind of curvature kind of looks like roots, and I'm all like, I don't know why. I think I'm just thinking too much into it, but it kind of reminded me of House.
That room specifically, and with that arch, I feel like maybe it had the same claustrophobic feeling. Like how the house in House is very, although it's big, it's very small. The hallways and everything are very. It feels like a traditional Japanese home, whereas this one is huge. But in that specific room with those arches, it feels a lot more claustrophobic and small, because you get a death there, and it's like the girl's trying to escape type thing, and there's nowhere for her to go.
Yeah, I guess we should talk about the cameraman's death. The cameraman and the anchor.
Who is Asuka.
So Takaguchi?
Takaguchi and Asuka.
Well, they're lovers.
They get got at the same time too.
Yeah.
Or are they?
Are not lovers, but they're definitely fucking around.
Okay.
Yeah, they're probably just fucking around. But both. Well, I don't know. both are horrible deaths. One is way more horrible than the other. And the one thing I appreciated about these deaths, at least the cameraman's death, is that the methods that these people are dying are in suit of how the mother died.
Yes, yeah, I agree.
So she got burnt, so her powers are basically burning
and melting,
which is just it's a horrible way to go.
I loved the effect though when you see the actual burning and melting, but we'll get there. But
yeah.
Yeah.
So, and for me, I think, despite how amazing the design is for Mamiya, for me, the most disturbing part of this movie was the scene where the cameraman is dragging his half body across the floor.
Yes, agreed. It was, and then like the squishy sounds that were just overplayed. It was very sticky.
I haven't heard sticky in a while.
Super sticky, but like, and then you see his spine wiggling.
Yeah, it's like wiggling around, kind of like Return of the Living Dead.
Yes, the skeleton on the
autopsy
it's just like
table. Wiggling. Yeah, which and as much as it is a great scene, it isn't my favorite death, but it is very, very memorable, very well shot, and very well executed.
Painful, and the actor does a great job of showing himself in extreme agony.
Yeah, like and also the actress, Kamiko?
Asuka?
Asuka, oh my god.
The reporter?
The reporter, the anchor lady or whatever, she also does a terrific job of like, okay, and I was actually thinking like, okay, let's say we're put in that situation. Your lover or best friend or what have you is on the floor.
Fuck buddy.
Yeah, your fuck buddy's on the floor. Okay, maybe not fuck buddy, but maybe your best friend is on the
your
floor.
Your fuck buddy is on the floor. I feel like we're all pretty familiar with that set of hairs.
Oh, well, then I guess that would be proper. Your fuck buddy is on the floor, and he or she is cut in half, crawling towards you. What do you do? You scream, and you push him away.
And you run away. Ew.
That's all you can do.
But it's like almost like she got punished for that, because immediately when she runs away, it's almost like she did a bad thing, so now she has to die. He was gonna die anyway, though. She couldn't have done anything.
Yeah, I mean, it was panic what she should have done, and she did. But it's funny because she's killed. Her death. She bumps into a giant axe that was actually placed in the corner by the person who got melted in half. So it's like, fuck you, bitch! I'm gonna kill you after I die.
Yes, she died because of him.
Yeah, sweet redemption right there. And then she bumps into this giant axe and it falls on her head and axe. Can we
talk about the axe for a second?
Yeah, let's talk about the axe.
One, why would you heft this? Like, everyone kept laughing at all the super dangerous stuff that would happen. Like, the beam of the ceiling fell, almost killed Kazuo, and then in the very next scene, everyone's like, it was so funny. And then when he brings the axe out, and it literally almost chops someone's head off, no one seems very bothered. And then he decides to put the axe in, like, the most dangerous place, like, that someone would die. I don't know. Just kind of...
Yeah. That was obviously set there because I think that's a case of, the script said we had to put it in the corner.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Yeah.
For a second, I thought it was going to, he was going to leave it so that the blade was aiming straight out. Thank God I was like, he turned it. But for a second, I thought he was, the most dangerous he could possibly.
Yeah, all he needed to do is, place, a red X on the floor and be like...
stand here.
But, she gets an axe to the head and... Well, no one can survive that, so she's gone.
It's gross because when it hits her, they have her hand come up because she's still alive, and the blade is in her head, and she just has a quick gasp of and then falls down. And I feel like that detail made it even more grotesque.
Yeah. Oh, you know nothing of the word.
I don't.
Yeah, but Yeah, I think those are our 3 primary deaths right there.
Well,
right?
I mean, should we talk about the reveal of Asuka's death, which it was my favorite.
Yes.
Okay, so when they all burst into the room and she is like, so the axe is still there, but she's basically lava. Like it looks like she's just, her full body is melting and the bright neon light coming out of it. I don't know, that visually that was my favorite part.
Yes, and that just kind of falls into like a subcategory. Remember how I always say I like really looking at really fucked up things like monster designs and all that? This applies to that too. I'm all like, oh, that's disturbing, but I can't look away.
I thought it was a beautiful shot. I mean, I didn't find it as disturbing as just, I thought, I don't know, just the visuals really pleased me, despite the fact that it was a woman with an axe in her head.
But yeah, no, I thought that was pretty interesting too, only because that's one thing I wanted to talk about was the wheelchair. I thought it was incredibly, first when I first saw them, I'm like, okay, wheelchairs. What is up with wheelchairs in Japanese people? Like, like how it's represented in Silent Hill,
True, agreed. Where else have they used wheelchairs? There's the movie I keep like referring to that I thought was House, but something else. Like Hell House.
Hell House.
That might not even be the title, but the main character is in a wheelchair. That's the whole premise, is he's stuck in his wheelchair while haunted shit is happening around him.
Interesting. And also because it did inspire Silent Hill, but Jacob's Ladder, there's a bunch of broken wheelchairs in the hospital sequence, so it's like, and I guess that could be a proper explanation. Maybe the wheelchair belonged to Lady Mamiya,
I mean, I was also wondering, like, what the fuck is this? I thought they would explain something like, oh, Ichiro, the artist, was, didn't have his legs or something, but I do think it's funny. There's a bit of foreshadowing when Asuka pushes the in the early, when the very first time they get in there, she gets mad because she was like, she reminded me of someone we both know. She was like, this is my show, I do what I want, I'm the prettiest. And then she gets up and like pushes the wheelchair really fast, like really hard, and it hits the wall, kind of like, oh, that wheelchair is gonna have some revenge.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that, only because I don't know. So, interesting fact there. You caught on to that. There's a foreshadowing there. There's also a bit of foreshadowing with the old guy, the gas station tenant. First of all, he almost dies.
Yeah, Mamura.
Even before Scary. Yeah, Mamura. He gets crushed by his own vehicle.
And it's played like a joke.
Yeah, I was like, thanks, I almost died, But also, he is smoking a cigarette while putting gasoline in a gas can.
Yeah. That's a bad thing to do. I could see that.
There's no lying. He quote unquote caught on fire and melted. So,
can I say what I thought they were going to do with that character, Yamamura? I thought for sure this is what they were going to do, and they totally. I feel like it would have really wrapped some stuff up, but I thought because they say Ichiro disappeared 30 years ago. And I know where you're going with this. I was like, okay, this has to be him because he suddenly knows everything about the house, how to defeat it, like the secret to defeating it, the whole peace of mind thing, or control of your mind. Where
the
furnace was.
Furnace is? Yeah.
Yeah, basically, just like Silent Hill, they had to go down into the bowels of whatever.
I would have loved that, actually. It would have made a lot more sense, and a part of me is thinking, I wonder if that was something that was changed by him as a producer.
That could be because he did, we'll get into it, do a lot of alterations.
Yeah, because it would have made sense for that character to be the artist.
Like, why would he sacrifice himself?
Why would he go through all the trouble of, like, coming to the house, It
would have been like a redemption thing, and yet it ended up taking him in the end, but he, it was worth saving them. I don't know. Without that, it's just a random character who shows up and kind of, he's the harbinger of death that turns into a hero.
Yeah, it's Old Man Withers, but now he's actually on the gang side. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, he is Old Man Withers.
So, yeah.
His makeup did look like a mask. Like he definitely had old man makeup on, right?
Oh yeah, or at least maybe just facial hair. I don't know what the producer looks like without it, but he plays old very well.
We should remake this because I have so many good ideas.
Yes, I honestly that is one great change right there. Have that character be the artist. He's in that age range where he would have been that old, you know.
Yeah.
Or if it needs to be switched around from like the late 1800s, switch it to 1940, 1950. You know, it would still add up. You got a 70-year-old man. There you go.
Genius. I'm so good. I guess you thought of it too, so whatever.
Well, no, I was just thinking about it. I didn't think to write it down, though. So, good catch again. Man, you're on a roll this episode.
I liked this movie a lot, so I did have a couple little random stuff before we move on.
Oh, yeah, me too.
So, the very beginning of the movie, there's a lot of inconsistency with the wind. Like, so you have the main crew out waiting outside for Kazuo, who's trying to make the deal so that they can go to the mansion. And it's just a light breeze. Everyone just is kind of chilling. And then when you're in the office with Kazuo trying to get the deal, outside is like a fucking hurricane. Like it looks like it's storming. And then you cut back out, and it's just like a nice breeze, and their scarves are flowing in the wind.
Yeah, no, I caught on to that. I'm like, okay, well, what the hell's going on here? First of all, I thought they were like in the Sahara or something because the storm looked like a fucking like haboob.
Yeah.
Which, listeners, are you familiar with that term, haboob? Because I feel like I was part of that group of people who just suddenly in 2015 or something, it was referred to as the haboob.
I always said dust storm.
Yeah, I've never heard it called haboob until maybe 5 years ago.
I heard it haboob because that's like the Sahara Desert is like they call it a haboob. But it's basically the same thing, but no, it's like 10 times the size or 100 times the size over there.
Ah, right. But yeah, no, it looks like they're in a haboob. Or a dust storm, whichever you prefer.
Oh, so also with like the same kind of imagery popping up in Japanese films, they definitely had a scene of the woman, Asuka, with the long black hair in front of her face, the white dress kind of shambling forward. Definitely.
Yes. It's almost like a staple of Japanese horror. You know?
It's very Ring, it's very Grudge. Kayako, it was very Kayako.
Kayako, yeah. And did you happen to notice just a faint glimmer of her face when they opened the furnace for the first time? I
did, and it was spooky.
I was all like, ooh.
That reminded me of the zombie face from the first Resident Evil game where he like turns around and you just like I don't know. I got a lot of Resident Evil. I think that's why I liked this movie so much Yeah.
And even if it wasn't like directly related to Resident Evil, it's still a great film on its own. You know?
Oh yeah,
it doesn't need the influence of Resident Evil for it to be like, oh, this is a good movie.
No,
well, actually, you know what? It needs it in a way that fans of Resident Evil will watch this movie because it is related to.
They'll really appreciate it. At least if you're fans of the games. I mean, if you're fans of the movies, you're out of luck. But
the movies are a whole different story.
And it's just it's so entertaining. Like it flows very well. I did want to say I thought the editing was really well done. The scene where all the paintings show up the next day, like the scary paintings, it could have been a lot of scenes could have been very boring, but the way he had the characters block and walk into screen and say their line and you see them in the background, just had this like really cool chemistry that kept your focus on it.
Yeah, and I'm not quite sure if it was just because I didn't know shit about the movie going in, but the moment we find out that the mural that they're cleaning up depicts a burning baby, that was an oh shit moment on my end. I'm like, oh.
It was.
What? You know?
A bit dramatic for Asuka.
Yeah, because she's all like, ah! And then runs away.
Yeah. That was funny. There was another... Oh! When Asuka digs up the baby and it does its like... and then dies.
Dude, that's the second time I've seen a dead baby cry out in a week.
I was gonna say we have a theme here of babies because Noroi, bunch of baby fetuses. We just finished the Ju-on TV show. Creepy, scariest baby ever, and then this one.
Yes.
But when it does that and it cries out, and then the cry rings out through the house, and it's like that super ominous moment where everyone looks up like, what the fuck? I think was like a perfect It's like the beginning of the second act, right? Or right when that happens.
Oh yeah, right when that baby comes out of the ground, it's like, okay, now
So
shit's gonna hit the
spooky.
fan.
Yeah.
I will say that Juwan's baby scene disturbed me more.
Highly well, because that baby killed people, right? I'm assuming that baby killed people. The way it like
Yeah.
crawled up and that was.
Oh no, not that scene. I'm talking about the scene where it cries out,
Oh, okay.
and it does like that weird.
Yes. Oh, demon baby.
Oh, shivers.
Um.
And also, this is probably stretching, maybe not, but I'm wondering if this inspired the quote-unquote darkness monster from the 1999 House on Haunted Hill. Just visually, because
Now that you mention
of course, Sweet Home does it practically, because in the film there's a moment where like the shadows become an enemy and they crawl up against the wall.
I want to say that along with the score for that, and they play that theme several times. It's like a very, I don't know, sense of urgency when Asuka sees the shadow and then the camera turns to behind to Takaguchi and you see the shadow rising up. I feel like that was such a epic oh shit moment too. Like I would like to see this movie in a theater. Because I feel like that coming up was just like so well done and very spooky.
You know what that reminded me of? Gandalf.
Really? I guess.
Bilbo Baggins, I'm not trying to rob you.
Well, now you
Trying
ruined
to
it.
help you. Because there's a big shadow growing behind.
Well, I wish the shadow had said that.
I'm not trying to rob you.
So just stand there.
I'm trying to kill you.
Trying to kill. Yes, exactly. Anyways, you ruined it, but I thought it was a very effective scene for me. As someone I've mentioned several times, seeing shadows on the wall freaked me out. So.
Well, no, I didn't ruin it for you. I saved it for you because it's just Gandalf who's mad at you.
I thought it was spooky. So there.
So there's one last thing I have in my notes real quick, and it's really super like random. But the father totally called her daughter a bitch.
Yes. Okay. Yes, he did. Although she is, and I put Emmy is a nag because she's so fucking annoying. And I was like, I would have kind of just left her there because she seemed to be more causing a rift than Kazuo and Akiko together as she was trying to.
Right. And it's funny because you called your daughter a bitch, and yet you're so desperate to find her.
I must save her. No,
So
I didn't believe it 1 second.
I don't buy it.
He did a heroic thing, right, and ran in to save his daughter, and then later you see that he just hid in a cabinet.
Yeah, hid in a cabinet or just ended up there. Regardless, it was a really kind of awkward. What am I supposed to be feeling at this point?
It's almost like they just cut it in. Like maybe he did die in the original cut, but they were like, it's happier if he lives, and I don't know. He had that amulet thing, which I guess they're trying to explain that kept him safe.
Maybe. I mean, even then, it didn't really do much.
Yeah, it didn't do much for Yamamura.
Yeah, that did shit against his horrible demise. But yeah, I thought that was pretty funny. He's just like, what did he say? He didn't say he was a bitch, but he was like, "You're acting really bitchy now."
You're acting really bitchy, yeah.
Yeah,
Which she was. She was my least favorite character.
I don't think anybody liked her really. I think honestly, my favorite character is the old man, because you remember how I said a long time ago. I already forget which movie I said this in, but I said I just love that character who knows what's going on. Listen to this character; he'll save you.
My favorite character was Akiko, who I feel is the final girl. Like, sure.
Oh, okay.
Akiko is the producer, the woman.
Okay, I was thinking the anchor woman,
and you were like, explain.
No,
Akiko. Who
I understand.
is the producer who's kind of like a mother figure to Emmy, and the whole movie's trying to get her, Akiko and Kazuo together. I really liked her a lot, despite some of the behind the scenes stuff, which we'll talk about. I thought she did a really good job, and I was surprised. Not to compare this to Aliens, really, that it is on the same level, but I didn't expect the middle-aged woman who's kind of not central for most of it to become the heroic leader and save everyone basically.
Yeah, I mean, instead of arming herself with a flamethrower, she puts on a dress.
She puts on the dress. Her the way she beat it is like more symbolism.
Yeah.
The dress was Emmy's mother's dress.
Yeah. So similarly themed, they essentially Ripley and this character go into the belly of the beast.
They do.
To save a little girl.
To save Newt, who I much prefer. Also, that was another similarity to Resident Evil, I thought, is where you, for the most of the movie, you're in the mansion, and it kind of feels like, okay, this is the setting, and then all of a sudden at the end, you go deep down into where you defeat the main evil. Is always below the main setting, which...
Yeah, because you just never think that, or because there's that scene where the gas station caretaker just is like, by the way, here's a secret door.
Yes, exactly. So that's pretty much what I have as far as our thoughts on the movie.
Oh yes, I am so excited about the behind the scenes. Let's get into it.
So I feel like you have much more titillating stuff, so I'm just going to go over a couple things, just some basic stuff. Obviously we've talked about it. Sweet Home is kind of more famous for being the inspiration for Resident Evil than the actual movie itself. But both the movie and the game were promoted at the same time, and they were released simultaneously. So I think that's, kind of... I'm seeing also a pattern with Japan where their marketing is almost better than the movie. Like House, the soundtrack was out before it was even filmed. This one, they were building a video game at the same time, not knowing if this was going to be a hit or not.
Yeah, and it's interesting to say too that like the chicken and the egg, which came first? What came first, Sweet Home video game or Sweet Home feature-length film?
Yes, that is
a lot of people are saying that it was the film that came first. And
I thought
then
the
video game.
That's my impression, was the film came out first and then the video game.
Yeah, which I think would make a little bit more sense. I think whoever invested money in this certainly had a lot of faith that both of these would be successful, which I can't tell you if it didn't.
They were very. This was a successful movie. Had generally favorable reviews, and the game was loved. Like, the game was very well liked when it came out. And funny, if you read the track list of the score for the game, it follows really closely to the movie plot.
Yeah, well, I also skipped ahead in the video game gameplay to see if the finale of the movie is in there, and it is. It is like word for word, scene for scene. It has the Mamiya spirit going up into heaven with the baby corpse.
Wonderful. I do want to say, I know we'll get into like the Juzo Itami's business, but he did force basically his wife to be front and center, and normally that doesn't work out. Rob Zombie's most of his movies, case in point,
hit or miss.
But I feel like, so the actress who played Akiko is Nobuko Miyamoto something, did a really good job. Like, I really liked her. She made me feel scared for her. I didn't know if she was going to live or not, but I just thought she was sweet, grounded. She kind of took control, whereas Kazuo is kind of a bumbling idiot for most of the movie. But I don't know, despite the behind the scenes, I really liked her and thought she did a pretty good job.
Yeah. And are you saying that she is the wife of the producer?
She is the wife of the producer, and he imposed her to being the star, and kind of at the end, because apparently they reshot the ending, and it is so far from the original of what Kurosawa wanted. And I read somewhere that it's like the original copy of Kurosawa's cut, that's his movie, is in the Toho vault, and that the cut we see now is really more of Juzo's film than Kurosawa.
I know it never happened, but the fact that in recent year, like last year, I think, right? And last year, Criterion released all the Godzilla movies that were available to Toho. This just gives me just a small glimmer of hope that they'll do something. like this for this one.
Well, maybe with the the uptick in the Resident Evil franchise pretty soon, maybe they'll see some kind of some money that can be made.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's really I think you're gonna it'll kind of mix into what you're gonna say, but he basically took control of Kurosawa's film, a la Steven Spielberg and Poltergeist, which that puppet at the end was very Poltergeist.
Oh God, yes. Except Sweet
Cooler.
Sweet Homes is cooler, and it has a much longer screen time, whereas as opposed to the thing that pops out of
And
the
it also has to emote.
closet. Yeah. Emote and cry and make me cry.
So, poor Harrison. Yeah, I want to hear about this conspiracy stuff because I did not
Yes. Okay.
venture that far.
So, rumor has it. So the producer, which I'm just gonna call him that because I can never remember his name. The producer,
Juzo Itami.
yeah, the producer, quote unquote, committed suicide by jumping off of a building. But here is what is circulating. Recently, a member of the Yakuza in Japan came forth and basically just told the press. I'm not sure if it was the press or he just confessed or whatever.
Facebook
But
post.
perhaps. No, it wasn't a Facebook post for sure. But it was definitely some really fucked up shit that happened. But this Yakuza member, because apparently this guy had dealings with the Yakuza. He was a drug addict. He bought and sold drugs, basically your Hollywood producer. And the Yakuza forced him out of his office, brought him up to the roof, and gave him a choice. He said, you can get shot in the face here and die, or you can jump off of the building and maybe survive. He chose to jump, and then he died.
I mean, that's kind of like a jigsaw move there.
Right. And I thought that was
highly disturbing.
highly disturbing.
Puts a darker shadow over the movie now because you're watching.
Yeah.
You watch it, and him specifically gets the worst death.
And it's interesting to say because I don't know. I have nothing to compare it to as an original cut. This is the first version that I've seen. Like how I always used to say I saw a bootlegged version, like literally a bootleg, not like it was recorded out of a theater, but it was literally a rough cut from an editing suite of Rob Zombie's Halloween.
Which I also saw.
Yeah. And how I just love that ending, and then I saw the theatrical cut, and I'm like, what the fuck? This is horrible. So who knows? Maybe in that original cut, your idea of the gas station guy being the artist that whose work they're trying to preserve, maybe that's in that cut. I don't know. But it makes sense considering that character is his wife, so of course he wants to put her he wants to put her right in the center and survive.
I kind of want to read more about her, at least the actress, because I'm wondering, because she is so sweet and motherly, and I'm like, please hug me and take care of me. But I wonder if she's a total bitch.
Oh, see, that's a good question. One that I'm sure that you'll be able to answer in your own deep dive.
I will.
But
go deep.
But yeah, no, I just thought that was a really disturbing story. I'm like, well, I didn't expect to read that about this character, this movie.
I did not get anywhere near that. I looked a lot for behind the scenes on Sweet Home, and I thought there was going to be a lot, but there really wasn't. So yeah. I'm glad that you found some more stuff.
Yeah, no, similar to how we kind of had with Noroi. There wasn't any trivia on IMDb. There wasn't even the entire cast or crew. No, there wasn't the entire crew on IMDb. So, sweet poster design, though.
Awesome poster design. I love it. I want it on my wall.
Oh, my God. You know what? It kind of reminds me of, like, A Nightmare on Elm Street 4, I think. The Dream Mask. But, it's like it reminds me of the Mandy poster. Like the illustrated one, not the photoshopped one.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Obviously, that drew inspiration from this because Well, yeah, but that poster design is beautiful.
I'm also a slut for a good poster. I'll buy a movie that is not that great because the poster's super good, or the cover. Like, imagine this poster on like a still box.
Ooh, see,
in a double disc with this theatrical cut and the original cut.
And special features and commentaries. Shout, you listening?
The whole,
sorry,
the whole thing.
what was that?
Too bad the one who knows everything's dead. But
yeah, so Wilf.
He got the.
I mean, is the director still alive?
I meant the producer. I meant Juzo, but I'm not sure about it. Didn't when I read about just the movie, all it said was the late Juzo Itami. It didn't say anything about Kurosawa being dead.
Yeah, I hope not, because I don't know. I feel this isn't really that old of a movie. It's basically my age, 1989, so 30 years old. Well, yeah, you're 29.
The year I was born.
No,
I'm
you're 30.
Thanks.
Yeah, so this movie is old as us. We're okay. We're getting at the age where we have to accept what we're turning into, and that is old. So.
Look at me. Just look at me. Like melting.
Look at me. That was my attempt at a Joker voice.
I liked it.
Yeah.
That's pretty much all I got on behind the scenes.
The only thing that I actually had written down for behind the scenes was Dick Smith did the makeup effects.
Okay.
That's all. So, I love Dick Smith. I love Dick.
Me too.
Dickie. So, seriously, if you don't know him, look him up and you'll understand why we love him.
So should we move on to our closing thoughts?
Yes, let's do that.
Cool. Harrison, go first.
Oh, okay. I'm so glad that you introduced this film to me. As much as I wanted to see and hear your reactions to Grotesque, I'm really glad that we actually are watching something that we haven't seen and experienced it for the first time together and be able to talk about it. This is a fantastic movie, and this is just making me wonder. Japan has a lot of hidden gems that aren't widely available or haven't been widely available until recently. Most importantly, Noroi, which basically just had an American release on Amazon, and this movie hasn't had a DVD release, it hasn't had a Blu-ray release, it hasn't even had a full-on release in Japan in recent years. The only way you could watch this movie is on VHS in Japan. So it's hard to come by. And this makes me wonder about other countries. What are countries hiding from us? What is out there that we haven't seen? Yeah, what is Mexico's Noroi? What is Russia's Sweet Home?
New Zealand, New Zealand. I mean, there's so many other places, and I feel like maybe this is a mission for us to find all these obscure movies,
just to find these little
and bring it to the public.
Love it. Yes, because seriously, if it weren't for you, I would not have done Noroi. Well, no, yeah. In some ways, a lot. Yeah, I did because of you, because of this podcast. I would have never seen Noroi. I would have never seen this movie. I would have never seen One Cut of the Dead, which I'm really excited for you to watch because it is amazing.
Next, right?
Yeah, that's next.
Cool, I'm really excited.
Spoilers. To see that. But yeah, no, this movie is, for it being a Japanese movie, it's very gothic. It's almost very American gothic-y with Victorian mansion themes. I love the mansion design. And I love the makeup effects. There's a lot of things to love if you are a horror fan with this movie. And I think if you're a fan of
filmmaking with just the ingenuity what they had at the time.
And even in the film, I was really happy when they were using this wheelchair as a dolly.
Yeah.
So it's just like, I
thought you would. Yeah, I thought you would. Point that out
I was like, I pointed to my imaginary friend like, hey, dolly,
remember that one time?
So yeah, and most especially the Mamiya design. It's beautiful. It made me cry. And an impractical puppet made me cry. It emoted enough for me. It blended a lot of elements, the practical effects, the music, the cinematography, and it was all like, tear.
Beautiful. Gorgeous.
So yeah, what do you think? What did you think?
hated it. I'm gonna obviously again be mirroring. I mean, we have pretty similar tastes for the most part. We're mirroring what you're saying. This movie, I think, it's super awesome, and I think it's more as for a J horror movie is more accessible. I think to people like you were mentioning in the last one, you had a friend who, kind of liked the parts that they thought were more American, but the second it got kind of culturally funky, they kind of zoned out of it. I feel like this movie would keep people more entertained, like more into it. I don't just because it is so similar to an American haunted house movie. The only barrier is that it's foreign, so you either do subtitles or dub. But I feel like any lover of old spooky haunted house mysteries are gonna love this. Anyone who just likes filmmaking in general. There are some, it is an 80s movie. There are some certain parts where they're really acting, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, the overacting, and especially the use of the really, and it's really weird because I'm wondering if this also is a Japanese thing. House music didn't fit, but it worked because it was crazy and visual. This didn't have the benefit of looking crazy, and yet it still had music that had no reason to be in it.
Yes, I agree.
But
it's not too distracting.
Oh no, it's just us reacting to it because we're really looking into this movie and because we love film scores,
And it's really entertaining. Like, it kept me from beginning to end. All the characters, whether you like them or not, are very well fleshed out and entertaining to watch. Just their dynamics. And then you feel it when each character dies. You're like, you might not have liked them, but it's just like, oh shit moment for all of them.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, at the end, it's pretty touching. And it has more of a upbeat ending, which after although House was fun, it was kind of a downer of an ending.
Yeah, no one survived that.
It's definitely a downer. So, it was a very fun movie.
I mean, people died, but it had a happy ending.
It's a fun movie is what I'll say. That's basically like my bottom line. It's a very fun movie.
Whether this is a tangent or not, it's still very applicable. This is a terrific scenario for the cabin in the woods characters.
Yes, it is.
Like deep beneath, you're like...
Or do you open the casket with the baby in it? Yeah. That thing would be down there.
Mm-hmm. So this is that type of movie.
Yeah.
It fits into the scenarios of Cabin in the Woods.
Definitely. They just happened to pick that baby casket.
Yeah, baby casket that led to half-burnt mother seeking revenge.
So, should we do how many burning babies?
Yes, let's do burning babies.
Well, I'm going to give this 5 burning babies. Purely on entertainment. On most levels, like, it's a very competently made movie. Whether it was all, like, changed or whatever in the editing room, whatever they did, it still flowed pretty well. So, 5 burning babies. They're burning bright.
Beautiful. Burning. And for me, this is not a bad score still. 4.5 out of 5 burning babies. And that 0.5 only goes to that damn scene where the music just doesn't fit at all.
I see. Yeah, I can definitely... It's still a fair rating.
Yeah, producer, if you had the power, you should have been like, no, we need to move this Legend of Zelda music out of here and put something else. But they didn't, and it's going to live on this movie forever. Unfortunately, he did not. So...
Oh.
Both character and in real life.
It got real dark.
Wah, wah. That's why. Oh, yes! Finally, I get to say this. That's what you get for fucking around with Yakuzas.
Good.
Thank you very much.
1-star reviews from Yakuza. Some Yakuza out there is like, I sure did.
It's like, hey guys, I got referenced in this episode, and now we gotta go kill them. Uh-oh.
No. We're not that important, I promise. Should we go ahead and... So, are we going to talk about what we're going to be covering next?
Yes, and then we revealed what the title is. Next week, we are covering One Cut of the Dead. And here's the synopsis for it. things go badly for a hack director and film crew shooting a low-budget zombie film in an abandoned World War II Japanese facility when they are suddenly attacked by real zombies.
Ooh. Sounds fun.
I don't want to say much, but this I've said this before. This probably became my 4th favorite movie of all time.
I haven't even seen a trailer, any stills, but just the poster.
Don't. You want to walk into this movie like you did Sweet Home. Okay. Just because I did. I walked into that movie the same. I said, you know what? I've heard good things about this movie. Let's watch it. And I put it on. And like I said before, the first 30 minutes, I felt like I was being like misled. And the middle 30 minutes, I was being entertained. And the last 30 minutes are exactly... It's the selling point of the movie. The last 30 minutes, if you're patient with the movie, the last 30 minutes will pay off for the rest of the movie. And that's all I'll say about that.
I can do that. I like a slow burn, so...
I wouldn't use those words with this kind of movie. Trust me, when you see it, you'll know.
And I'm going to point out that that'll be the 3rd movie in this series of reviews that involve a film crew.
There we go. Similar themes. I love it. Cool. I love it. So, yeah. So tune in next week while we cover that.
And just before we end the show, I do want to say it is mine and Harrison's anniversary. We started...
Oh, yeah!
We started our journey to podcasting exactly 1 year ago. So,
yes,
happy
July
anniversary,
18th.
co-host.
Happy 1 year. It has been a very tumultuous year.
Turbulent?
Very turbulent, because... For those who don't know, we did start another podcast, and for a while it was good, and then it wasn't. Yeah, with Asuka. Yes, quote unquote, with Asuka.
We'll say it's Asuka.
Yeah, and then I think the genesis of our podcast is pretty interesting because it began in the roots of another, and we sort of split off, and then we became our own tree. We grew into a beautiful tree.
We from the ashes of that previous podcast, like a phoenix, we rose.
Yeah,
rebirth.
And for those who have listened from the beginning, you've certainly seen our podcast evolve over the months. This is episode 33. I think this will be episode 33.
I feel like each one gets better and better as far as our everything about it. We've grown a lot. I mean, now doing YouTube, which I'm needing to get used to because my eye line is next time I'm going to make sure it's like correct, but sorry people, I look kind of wonky because I'm like...
Yeah. So yeah, this is I'm looking at the audience right now. Where is it? Right there.
So Harrison, when I'm looking down, I'm distracted because he's down here.
Yeah.
And I'm on my phone, so I'm looking at you. But I want to look at Harrison.
Yeah, because your face is right there. But
and then I'm like,
the audience is right there.
Also looking at myself because I want to make sure I look okay. So I'm just like...
I'm fairly certain there's a better way to do this, and we'll figure that out. That's the beautiful thing about this podcast is we're just figuring things out.
We try something, and if it works, we keep it. So
yeah. Now, unfortunately, we didn't have the benefit of that in the other podcast. It was very strict. We had to do this, we had to do that, and there wasn't a lot of room.
We found that me and Harrison just meshed well more as reviewers and co-hosts and film lovers.
Yeah. And I love Halloween, but I
don't ever think I have to watch Halloween ever again.
Hell no.
The new one, of course, so excited. I'm sad it was bumped, but
yeah,
I don't think I ever have to go back and watch, not for a very long time.
Which is ironic because we kind of are, but that'll come in later this year.
Yeah, that is true.
Hint, hint.
Oh, good. Oh, no.
Yeah, it's because on our actual 1 year anniversary for the Final Gaze, we got some interesting things lined up for you guys. So.
Yeah, this is our personal anniversary when we first got together to talk about being in a podcast of some form. But yeah, our Final Gaze anniversary is like November 26th, I think.
Yeah, end of November, beginning of December. Well, end of November, yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I wish Asuka all the best.
Yes, me too. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, good luck.
Stay away from wheelchairs and axes. All right, so want to close this out, Harrison, before
Yes, yes.
we say any more?
Well, thank you for listening to us. You can find us on all the social medias like Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You can also listen to us on iTunes, Spotify, and Podbean. Also, if you're also on YouTube, we're on there too now. You can see our faces there.
Nice.
You can also see our faces
so
on our
sorry.
website. Don't pay no attention to me. You look great. You look great. But, go visit our website, www.thefinalgaze.com. You can see photos of us as well as bios and so much more.
Well, until then, I am Toby.
And my name is Harrison, and we are The Final Gaze.
Give me one moment really quick. Just do something really quick.
Then it all just comes crashing down.
Oh my god, you're right. That's usually how things happen. Sorry guys, you can't see anything that I'm doing.
Nah. It's a lovely wrist.
Thanks.
It's a spin-off of The Lovely Bones, your lovely wrist.
That's
the porn version.
I was just recently cast in The Lovely Fists.
The lovely fist. Oh my lord.
Lovely Fists.
Coming soon to Toby's OnlyFans.
Coming soon.
It's coming real soon, guys. I promise. But let's start off with a composer, composed by Masaya. No. So,
Although, forgot what I was gonna say. I was gonna say something funny and I totally forgot. Sorry.
Oh, classic Toby.
It was right there, but it's gone.